Everything in the universe is shining, not only because of light, but because existence itself is an act of energy expressing awareness, motion, and purpose. And when we look deeply into the cosmos, we begin to realize that shining is not something rare or special. It is the natural state of everything that exists, from the smallest particle to the largest galaxy, because at the most fundamental level, nothing in the universe is truly still, nothing is ever completely dark, and nothing is ever truly silent, since every atom vibrates, every particle moves, and every field interacts, creating an endless dance of energy that we perceive as light, glow, warmth, radiation, reflection, or even life itself. And when we say that stars shine, we usually mean that they produce visible light through nuclear fusion, where hydrogen atoms merge into helium under extreme pressure and temperature, releasing enormous amounts of energy that travel across space for millions or even billions of years before reaching our eyes. But this is only the most obvious form of shining, because planets shine too, not by creating light, but by reflecting it, and moons shine, and dust clouds shine, and even empty space shines, faintly with background radiation left over from the birth of the universe, which tells us that shining is not limited to stars alone, but is woven into the very fabric of reality. And if we move closer, away from the vast scale of galaxies and into the microscopic world, we find that atoms shine as well, because electrons do not sit quietly around the nucleus, but exist in probability clouds, constantly shifting energy states, absorbing and emitting photons, which are particles of light, meaning that even the solid objects around you, like your phone, your chair, or your body, are constantly emitting and interacting with light at levels your eyes cannot see. And this is why everything has a temperature, why infrared cameras can see heat, and why no object can ever reach absolute zero, because absolute stillness would mean the end of shining, and the universe does not allow that. And when we look at life itself, we see another kind of shining, because living cells generate tiny electrical signals, chemical reactions, and bioluminescence in some organisms, like fireflies, deep-sea creatures, and glowing plants, all of which remind us that shining is closely connected to energy flow, and energy flow is closely connected to existence, because to exist is to exchange energy in some way. And even darkness is not the absence of shining, but simply shining at wavelengths we cannot see. And when astronomers observe distant galaxies, they find that many of them shine not only in visible light, but in radio waves, X-rays, gamma rays, and ultraviolet light, proving that the universe is far brighter than our human senses can perceive. And when we expand this idea further, we realize that shining is also connected to time, because light carries information from the past, allowing us to see stars as they were millions of years ago, meaning that the universe is shining not only across space, but across time itself, telling its story through photons traveling endlessly through the cosmic ocean. And this leads us to a deeper understanding that shining is communication, because light is how the universe speaks, how it reveals structure, motion, and history. And when scientists study cosmic background radiation, they are literally observing the afterglow of the Big Bang, the first light released when the universe cooled enough for photons to travel freely, which means that the universe has been shining since the very moment it began, and it has never stopped. And when we think philosophically, shining also represents awareness, because to shine is to be noticed, to interact, and to influence. And in this sense, even consciousness is a form of shining, since thoughts are electrical impulses, emotions are chemical reactions, and memories are patterns of energy stored and retrieved within the brain, meaning that when you think, feel, or dream, you are literally producing measurable energy. And when we consider gravity, we might think it does not shine, but even gravity influences light, bending it around massive objects, creating gravitational lensing, which makes distant galaxies appear brighter or duplicated, showing us that even invisible forces contribute to the universe's glow. And when we include dark matter and dark energy, which do not emit light directly, we still find that they shape the shining universe by controlling how galaxies form, move, and cluster, proving that shining is not only about visibility, but about influence, presence, and interaction. And when humans create art, music, and technology, we are continuing this universal pattern of shining, because creativity is energy transformed into expression, and expression is a form of light, whether it appears as sound waves, written words, images, or digital signals traveling across the internet. And this is why stories inspire us, why music moves us, and why certain ideas feel bright while others feel heavy, because our minds are tuned to recognize energetic patterns that resonate with life. And when ancient cultures spoke of stars as gods, souls, or symbols of hope, they were intuitively recognizing that shining represents continuity, guidance, and meaning, because stars helped humans navigate oceans, track time, and understand seasons, making shining a source of survival as well as wonder. And even today, when we launch satellites, space telescopes, and probes, we rely on shining signals, radio transmissions, and reflected light to explore the unknown, proving that our quest for knowledge is guided by glow, not darkness. And if we step back and ask why the universe chose light as its language, the answer may be that light is the fastest, most fundamental way energy moves, carrying truth without mass, crossing vast distances without losing identity, making it the perfect messenger of existence. And this brings us to a powerful realization, that the universe is not cold or indifferent, but active, expressive, and continuously revealing itself. And shining is the evidence of that revelation, because every glow is a signal saying, I am here, I exist, and I am connected. And when you look up at the night sky, you are not just seeing distant objects, you are participating in a conversation that began billions of years ago, where light left its source long before humans existed, traveled through expanding space, and finally entered your eyes, triggering electrical signals in your brain, turning ancient photons into awareness. And this means that shining connects everything, from stars to cells to thoughts, forming one continuous chain of energy and meaning. And perhaps the most profound reason everything in the universe is shining is because the universe is not finished, it is still becoming, still transforming, still unfolding. And shining is the visible sign of that ongoing creation, reminding us that existence is not static, but alive with motion, potential, and wonder. And that even when something appears dark, silent, or empty, it is still part of the great luminous process, waiting to be seen, understood, or felt. And in this way, the universe does not merely contain light. It is light, expressing itself in countless forms, endlessly shining, endlessly communicating, and endlessly inviting us to look deeper, think bigger, and realize that we too are part of this radiant cosmic story.